In the vast emptiness of space, where stars become your only companions and forgotten worlds hold secrets older than time itself, a group of humans found their true purpose. They became wanderers of the cosmos, explorers of dead civilizations, seekers of knowledge that could change humanity's destiny. But what happens when you stumble upon something that was never meant to be found? When ancient technologies awaken and new civilizations challenge everything you thought you knew about existence. This is the story of the cosmic nomads, their triumphs, their losses, and their impossible choices. If you crave stories that make you question our place in the universe, hit that subscribe button now, because this odyssey will take you beyond imagination. The journey began not with grand plans or noble missions, but with desperation. Earth's resources had dwindled to unsustainable levels, and humanity's reach into space had been largely disappointing. Mars colonies failed, asteroid mining proved unprofitable, and the dream of interstellar travel remained just that, a dream. It was during these dark times that a small group of scientists, engineers, and adventurers decided to try something unprecedented. They would modify old spacecraft originally designed for short-term research missions and transform them into mobile homes capable of sustaining life indefinitely. These ships weren't sleek vessels of science fiction dreams, but rather patchwork creations, welded together from whatever parts they could salvage. Their plan was simple yet radical. Instead of trying to colonize planets permanently, they would live in space itself, moving from system to system, surviving on whatever resources they could find among the ruins of dead civilizations. This decision marked the beginning of a new chapter in human history, one where adaptability and resilience became the cornerstones of survival. The first few months were fraught with challenges as they struggled to maintain life support systems and manage limited supplies. Yet, amidst the chaos, a sense of purpose emerged. Each malfunction repaired, each resource scavenged, reinforced their belief that humanity could thrive even in the harshest environments. The stars themselves seemed to beckon them forward, promising discoveries beyond their wildest imaginations. Their first destination was Proxima Centauri b, a world that had once held so much promise for colonization but had proven too hostile for permanent settlement. What they found there changed everything about how they viewed the cosmos. The remnants of an ancient civilization lay scattered across the planet's surface, their technology far advanced from anything humanity had ever created. More astonishing still was the realization that this wasn't an isolated case. As they traveled further, they discovered similar patterns on dozens of worlds, evidence of a galactic civilization that had risen and fallen long before humanity emerged. Each abandoned city, each derelict spacecraft, each piece of alien technology told fragments of a story that spanned millions of years. The nomads learned to read these stories, piecing together the history of the galaxy through careful study of artifacts left behind by countless species. With each discovery, their understanding of the universe expanded, but so did their sense of isolation, for all these civilizations were gone, leaving no trace of what had caused their extinction. The sheer scale of loss weighed heavily on them, forcing them to confront uncomfortable questions about the fragility of existence. Was their fate inevitable, or could they learn from the mistakes of those who came before? These thoughts haunted their minds as they continued their journey, driven by both curiosity and the need to understand their place in this vast, empty cosmos. Their encounters with ancient ruins became almost ritualistic, a way to connect with the ghosts of civilizations past and perhaps glean some wisdom from their demise. Life aboard the wandering ships evolved into a unique culture unlike anything humanity had known before. The initial discomfort of living in cramped quarters gave way to a profound sense of community, as survival depended more on cooperation than individual strength. A new social structure emerged, based not on wealth or power but on skills and contributions to the group's survival. Engineers who could keep the ships running became as revered as doctors who maintained health, while xenobiologists and archaeologists provided crucial knowledge about new worlds and ancient civilizations. The concept of ownership transformed. Personal possessions became minimal, shared resources maximized efficiency, and the collective good took precedence over individual desires. Most remarkably, the constant exposure to alien artifacts and environments led to a fundamental shift in consciousness. The nomads began to think of themselves not as human beings exploring space, but as cosmic entities temporarily housed in human forms. This perspective allowed them to approach encounters with new civilizations with unprecedented openness and adaptability. Meals were shared communally, stories exchanged freely, and decisions made through consensus rather than hierarchy. Even the youngest members of the group understood their role in maintaining the delicate balance required for survival. Over time, rituals developed around the mundane aspects of life, repairing equipment, harvesting food from hydroponic gardens, monitoring ship systems, imbuing them with significance beyond their practical purposes. This transformation wasn't immediate but grew organically from necessity, shaping a society that valued connection over competition, knowledge over material wealth, and adaptability over tradition. The first contact came unexpectedly on a moon orbiting Epsilon Eridani. Unlike previous discoveries of ancient ruins, this time they found life, intelligent, aware, and watching them. The encounter shattered their assumptions about communication and understanding between species. These beings communicated not through sound or visual symbols, but through complex electromagnetic patterns that resonated with the very fabric of their bodies. Initial attempts at interaction nearly ended in disaster as both sides misinterpreted each other's intentions. The breakthrough came when one of the nomads, a former neuroscientist named Elena, proposed using their ship's quantum processors to translate these patterns into something comprehensible. What followed was weeks of tentative exchange, where basic concepts of mathematics and physics served as common ground. The aliens called themselves the Luminari, energy-based entities that had existed for millennia, observing the rise and fall of physical civilizations. From them, the nomads learned that intelligence in the universe manifested in countless forms, many of which humanity couldn't even perceive, let alone understand. This revelation forced them to reconsider everything they thought they knew about consciousness, existence, and the nature of life itself. The Luminari shared glimpses of their perspective, seeing time not as linear, but as a web of interconnected moments, perceiving reality through frequencies rather than matter. These insights challenged the nomads' perception of their own identity, blurring the lines between observer and observed, self and other. The encounter left them profoundly changed. Their worldview expanded beyond the confines of human-centric thinking. As the years passed, the nomads developed protocols for approaching unknown worlds, balancing scientific curiosity with caution born of hard experience. They learned to detect subtle signs of habitation, patterns in orbital debris, anomalies in atmospheric composition, traces of artificial elements in planetary crusts. Some worlds yielded treasures beyond imagination, libraries encoded in crystalline structures containing the entire knowledge of extinct races, machines capable of manipulating matter at a fundamental level, biological specimens revealing entirely new forms of life. Others brought danger, automated defense systems still functioning after eons, nanotechnological constructs that viewed organic life as contamination, environmental hazards triggered by careless exploration. Each discovery added layers to their understanding of the galaxy's history, painting a picture of successive waves of civilization rising and falling like tides. They documented everything meticulously, creating a comprehensive archive that would become humanity's most valuable possession, a record of where they had been and what they had learned. Yet with each new world visited, they felt the weight of responsibility growing heavier. How could they ensure that their presence didn't disrupt delicate ecosystems or trigger ancient mechanisms designed to protect long-dead societies? Every step forward carried the risk of unintended consequences, forcing them to tread carefully between the desire to explore and the need to preserve. This tension defined their existence, pushing them to refine their methods continuously, always striving to minimize their impact while maximizing their understanding of the universe. The psychological toll of their existence became increasingly apparent as decades passed. Living without gravity, confined to metal shells hurtling through void, constantly exposed to radiation despite shielding. These factors combined to create unique mental health challenges. The worst affected were those who had grown up aboard the ships, never knowing any home but the endless expanse of space. They developed conditions the medics called cosmic drift, a disconnection from linear time, where past and future blurred into an eternal present. To combat this, the community established new rituals and traditions. Star mapping ceremonies became sacred events where generations gathered to chart their course through the galaxy. Storytelling sessions preserved personal histories, ensuring that individual experiences contributed to the collective memory. Most importantly, they cultivated a deep appreciation for transient beauty, the brief bloom of flowers grown in hydroponic gardens, the fleeting glimpse of a supernova through observation ports. The momentary connection formed during rare encounters with other beings. These small wonders became anchors in the vastness of space, grounding them in the present moment and reminding them of life's inherent preciousness. Meditation practices evolved to help individuals cope with the overwhelming scale of their surroundings, teaching them to find peace in the infinite. Communal spaces were redesigned to encourage interaction and prevent isolation, while virtual reality systems provided temporary escapes to simulated environments reminiscent of Earth. Despite these efforts, the specter of loneliness lingered, a constant companion in their journey through the stars. Their medical knowledge expanded exponentially as they encountered biological samples from hundreds of worlds. Some contained diseases that threatened their existence, forcing rapid development of new treatments and containment protocols. Others revealed incredible possibilities: organisms capable of photosynthesis in complete darkness, bacteria that could break down toxic waste products, plants whose genetic material held keys to extending human lifespan. The greatest breakthrough came when they discovered how to combine human DNA with certain alien cellular structures, allowing their bodies to better withstand radiation and microgravity effects. This genetic adaptation, while controversial, became essential for long-term survival. They also learned to manipulate their own biology through techniques observed in various alien species, controlled hibernation to preserve resources during long journeys, accelerated healing processes, even limited regeneration of damaged tissues. Medical facilities aboard the ships transformed into laboratories of biological innovation, where traditional medicine merged with alien biotechnology to create entirely new approaches to health and longevity. Yet these advancements carried ethical dilemmas. Was it still human life they were preserving, or something else entirely? The lines blurred further as generations passed, each adapting more to their environment than the last. Children born aboard the ships exhibited traits never seen on Earth: enhanced sensory perception, resistance to extreme temperatures, even subtle telepathic abilities. These changes sparked debates about identity and evolution, forcing them to confront what it truly meant to be human in a universe that constantly challenged their understanding of biology and consciousness. The ships themselves evolved continuously, incorporating technologies salvaged from ancient ruins and adapted from alien designs. Original components gave way to hybrid systems that defied conventional engineering principles. Quantum processors meshed with crystalline circuits, fusion reactors ran alongside energy conversion methods copied from the luminary. Structural materials incorporated self-repairing properties observed in alien organisms. Propulsion systems underwent multiple iterations, eventually achieving speeds that violated previously accepted laws of physics. Navigation tools became sophisticated enough to plot courses through gravitational currents and folded space-time regions, allowing them to cover distances that would have taken centuries using conventional methods. Environmental systems learned to recycle resources with nearly perfect efficiency, creating closed ecosystems that mimicked Earth's natural cycles. The ships ceased being mere vessels and became living entities in their own right, adapting and evolving alongside their human inhabitants, each modification telling the story of another obstacle overcome, another discovery made. Another step forward in humanity's cosmic journey. Maintenance became a form of communion, engineers forming intimate bonds with the machines that sustained them. Over time, the distinction between organic and synthetic faded, as biological elements were integrated into ship systems and mechanical components began to resemble organic structures. These transformations reflected not just technological progress but a deeper philosophical shift, the realization that survival in space required transcending rigid categories and embracing fluidity in all its forms. Their role in the galaxy shifted from mere survivors to custodians of knowledge. They became archivists of civilizations lost to time, preserving not just physical artifacts but cultural context, the meaning behind art, the purpose of technology, the philosophical underpinnings of societies. This responsibility weighed heavily, especially when they encountered worlds on the brink of collapse, civilizations repeating mistakes made by others before them. The dilemma of intervention versus observation became a constant debate within their community. Some argued that sharing knowledge could prevent catastrophes, while others believed that each species must find its own path. Compromise came in the form of subtle guidance, leaving carefully placed clues, planting seeds of ideas without direct interference. They learned to recognize tipping points in societal evolution, moments when a small nudge could steer a civilization towards sustainability rather than destruction. This delicate dance between observer and participant defined their existence, adding moral complexity to their mission of exploration and survival. Each decision carried consequences, some immediate, others rippling across generations. They documented these interactions meticulously, creating an ethical framework for future encounters. Yet no matter how careful they were, guilt lingered. The knowledge that they could never save everyone, that sometimes their presence alone altered the course of history in ways they couldn't predict. It was a burden they bore silently, carrying it like stardust in their hearts as they moved from one world to the next. Time distorted aboard the ships, measured not in calendar years but in star systems visited, civilizations encountered, technological breakthroughs achieved. Generations overlapped in ways that defied conventional family structures, children raised collectively, elders maintaining connections with descendants separated by subjective centuries due to relativistic effects. Traditional concepts of aging lost meaning as genetic adaptations and medical advancements extended lifespans dramatically. Historical records accumulated until they spanned terabytes, documenting everything from major discoveries to mundane daily routines. Yet despite this accumulation of time and experience, certain questions remained unanswered. Was their existence sustainable in the long term? Had they truly escaped Earth's fate or merely postponed it? Could humanity survive indefinitely as cosmic nomads? Or was there some fundamental limit to this way of life? These uncertainties fueled both anxiety and hope, driving them to continue their journey even as they questioned its ultimate purpose. The passage of time took on a surreal quality. Events that felt recent might have occurred decades ago according to Earth's clocks, while distant memories often seemed closer than they actually were. This temporal dissonance shaped their worldview, teaching them to live fully in each moment while remaining aware of the vast continuum stretching behind and ahead of them. Stories of Earth grew fainter with each generation, becoming legends rather than lived experiences. Yet the emotional pull of home remained strong, a thread connecting them to their origins even as they forged new identities among the stars. Encounters with other spacefaring civilizations revealed the diversity of survival strategies in the cosmos. Some species lived in enormous generation ships, entire ecosystems contained within artificial worlds. Others had transcended physical form entirely, existing as patterns of energy or information. A few had mastered instantaneous travel between distant points, appearing and disappearing like ghosts across the galaxy. Each meeting expanded their understanding of possible futures for humanity. They witnessed species thriving despite seemingly insurmountable challenges, silicon-based life forms enduring extreme temperatures, aquatic beings traveling through vacuum using specialized suits, hive-minded collectives spanning multiple star systems. These observations inspired innovations in their own society, suggesting new ways to organize communities, share resources, and maintain cultural identity across vast distances. Most importantly, they learned that survival in space required flexibility, willingness to adapt not just physically but philosophically, embracing change as a fundamental aspect of existence rather than something to resist. Every encounter left them humbled, reminded of the infinite variety of paths life could take. Yet amidst this diversity, common themes emerged: the drive to explore, the need to connect, the desire to leave a legacy. These universal truths resonated deeply, reinforcing their belief that despite their differences, all sentient beings shared a fundamental kinship rooted in the shared experience of existence itself. Conflict inevitably arose, both internal and external. Disagreements about direction, literally and metaphorically, sometimes threatened to split their community apart. Should they prioritize searching for habitable worlds or focus on studying ancient ruins? Was it ethical to claim resources from uninhabited planets? How much should they interfere with developing civilizations? External threats proved equally challenging. Territorial species viewing them as invaders, automated defense systems mistaking their peaceful intentions for hostility, even rogue AI remnants from extinct civilizations attempting to assimilate their technology. Each crisis forced them to refine their diplomatic skills, develop better defensive capabilities, and strengthen their internal cohesion. They established protocols for conflict resolution, created specialized teams for handling dangerous situations, and maintained detailed records of every encounter to learn from past mistakes. Through these challenges, their society grew stronger, more resilient, and better equipped to face the unknown dangers that awaited in deeper space. Trust became paramount, forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by shared victories. Leadership evolved from hierarchical structures to dynamic networks, where decisions were made collaboratively based on expertise and experience. Even in moments of tension, unity prevailed, driven by the unshakable belief that their survival depended not on individual strength, but on collective wisdom and cooperation. Art and culture flourished in unexpected ways aboard the ships. Deprived of traditional canvases, artists turned to holographic projections, creating dynamic works that responded to viewer presence. Musicians composed symphonies incorporating electromagnetic frequencies collected from various stars. Writers documented their experiences in formats that combined text, sensory data, and neural patterns, creating immersive narratives that could be experienced rather than simply read. Education evolved into interactive experiences, where students could virtually explore ancient ruins or witness historical events reconstructed from archaeological evidence. Religious practices adapted to their unique circumstances, focusing less on specific deities and more on the wonder of existence itself, the interconnectedness of all things in the cosmos. Even humor took on new dimensions, incorporating references to their situation that outsiders might find incomprehensible but which bound the community together through shared experiences and inside jokes. These creative expressions served as both catharsis and communication, helping them process their emotions and articulate their place in the universe. Art galleries became communal spaces where individuals could reflect on their journey, while performances fostered connection and joy in an otherwise austere environment. Creativity became a lifeline, a way to assert their humanity in the face of overwhelming odds and remind themselves of the beauty inherent in their odyssey. Their relationship with Earth became increasingly distant, both physically and culturally. Communication delays stretched into years, then decades, making real-time interaction impossible. The homeworld they remembered transformed into a mythic place, its reality obscured by time dilation effects and the accumulation of stories passed between generations. Yet despite this growing separation, they maintained a sense of responsibility toward humanity's origin point. Regular data transmissions sent back their discoveries, though they knew many would never be received or understood. They established automated relay stations throughout explored space, creating a network that might someday reconnect Earth with the wider galaxy. Most importantly, they carried with them the essence of human culture, not just knowledge and technology but values, ethics, and the drive to understand their place in the universe. This preservation of humanity's spirit became their primary mission, ensuring that regardless of what happened to their physical bodies or individual ships, the core of what it meant to be human would continue to exist among the stars. Memories of Earth lingered like echoes, shaping their dreams and aspirations even as they forged new traditions and identities. In moments of doubt or despair, they drew strength from the idea that they were part of something greater than themselves, a continuum linking past, present, and future, bridging the gap between the cradle of life and the infinite possibilities of the cosmos. As their journey continued, the nomads began to see themselves not as wanderers but as pioneers of a new paradigm, one where humanity's destiny lay not in settling single planets but in embracing the vastness of space itself. Their ships became symbols of resilience, mobile homes that carried not only people but the hopes and dreams of an entire species. Each discovery, each encounter, reinforced their belief that the universe was far richer and more complex than anyone had imagined. They realized that survival wasn't just about enduring hardship but about thriving in the face of uncertainty, finding meaning in the act of exploration itself. And so they pressed onward, driven by curiosity and courage, knowing that their journey would never truly end. For every answer they found, countless questions remained, each beckoning them deeper into the unknown. In the silence of space, they heard whispers of possibility, urging them to keep moving, to keep seeking, to keep dreaming. Their story was no longer just theirs. It belonged to all who dared to look up at the stars and wonder. If this tale of cosmic adventure has sparked your imagination, don't forget to subscribe for more journeys beyond the horizon. Together, we can explore the infinite possibilities of the universe.